Hello and welcome to the Phoenix Union High School District webinar. My name is Rob Gertzen. I am the sales rep in Arizona for WorldBook, and I will be the one hosting the webinar today. The purpose of today's webinar is to introduce you guys to some great features that you guys have on some of these databases. And we're going to spend the majority of the time in WorldBook Advanced, but I will highlight the other databases and give you a couple of different things and ways that you can use the different databases that you have other than Advanced. So that being said, this is the home page for your subscription. I am going to click on WorldBook Advanced to start the demonstration. And right off the bat, I wanted to introduce you to our search box. And so when I do a search on World War II, and I already have it stored in my browser, but you would type in World War II. When you do a search, you'll notice that on the far left, we get a ton of search results. And in our search, we actually, in this case, we get encyclopedia articles, primary source documents, literary criticisms, some presidential papers, scrolling down here, even some historical maps, and there's some really cool features in here. In the middle, these are the actual encyclopedia articles, and then there's primary sources on the far right, which I'll introduce to you in just a minute. So when we go into the World War II article, you'll notice that everything's laid out in an outline format on the far left. So you can see right here we have the introduction, the causes of war, the early stages of war, and the war spreads, and so on and so forth if you were to scroll down. The other neat thing in our search box here in the toolbox is you can print the full article, which in this case would be very lengthy, or excuse me, you can also print subsections of the article. So right here you can see causes of war under the Peace of Paris. You can print just that subsection if you wanted to. Another neat feature is you're able to highlight the search term in the article. So as you remember, we searched for World War II, and you're able to click on that, and it will highlight the World War II terms throughout the entire article, as you can see here, or the word war. And so it highlights that text for the student if they wanted to do that. And then finally, you'll notice we have pictures and tables and maps, and they're all kind of scattered throughout. There's another picture. But as you scroll down through the article, you'll notice that we have a lot of pictures, videos, and different things. And I'm going to go ahead and scroll to the very bottom of the article, because at the end of every one of our articles, we have the citation information. So you'll notice right here, the contributor to the article is listed, and then we recommend the citation in the following format. So we have MLA, APA, and Harvard format. And that would be really cool for your students to be able to just copy and paste, and the citation is already done if they were using this article. And so that's a neat feature that's the end of all of our articles. So I'm going to go back to the top of the article, and then anytime I go to the home page, you'll notice I click up here on the top left on WorldBook, and now I'm back to the home page. A couple of other great features that we have. One of them is our eBook Center. So in the eBook Center, I'm going to click on Go to eBook Center. And then you'll notice that we can search thousands of different ebooks here, but I want to take you guys to only the downloadable ebooks. And then right here, this is an instruction sheet on how to download the ebooks to Nooks and Kindles and iPads and etc. I'm going to take you into the downloadable portion. So now you'll notice the number 733 here. We have 733 downloadable ebooks. So let's just say that a teacher was going to have their students read The Adventures of Huck Finn. Looks like I went just a little bit too far. Sorry about that. If they were reading The Adventures of Huck Finn, you'll notice that right here, it's alphabetical, and I accidentally clicked on one that took me 5 pages ahead instead of 1. But you'll notice that we can download The Adventures of Huck Finn by clicking here, and then it's in an EPUB or a mobile format. And in the case of if you were downloading to an iPad, you would click download, save this to your desktop, and then transfer the information by plugging in your iPad, and it turns it into a true ebook format on your mobile device. So that's our eBook Center. Once again, I just want to take you back to the downloadable ebooks, and you'll notice that you can search by author's last name and by title, and a lot of different ways that way too. So back to the home page again, that eBook Center is down here in the bottom middle. You would go to the eBook Center and then click on downloadable here on the far right, and that would take you to the downloadable format. Okay, back to the home page. I wanted to show you that we have a citation builder. This is really cool. And you can build citations in MLA, APA, and Harvard format. So let's say a student or a teacher wanted to create a citation on how to do a podcast. You click submit, you plug in the information, and then WorldBook builds the citation in MLA, APA, and Harvard format for the student or teacher. So that's a really cool feature for research. Then back to the home page, I also want to introduce you to another cool feature here where we can go to this teaching with documents. So under the research tools, when I click on teaching with documents, this is taking us into a database excuse me, where we are integrating primary sources, but these are lesson plans on how to do that. So as I scroll down, you'll notice there's a wide variety of different topic areas. I'm going to go to the bottom to World War II, and I want to show you guys a cool speech here. So this is the actual background to Franklin Roosevelt's Day of Infamy speech. And you'll notice here that there's a background here on, what happened the morning of December 7th. Pearl Harbor was bombed by Japan. And as I scroll down, there's some teaching activities. And then finally, this is the rough draft of President Roosevelt's speech. And you'll notice it says draft number 1 on the top left, the day, which was the day that Pearl Harbor was bombed. And then the first sentence is interesting to me. Yesterday, December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in world history was the original words. And President Roosevelt scribbled it out and wrote in infamy. And I think that's really interesting because it shows students the importance of a rough draft and also word selection. And in this case, the word infamy made all the difference in the speech because that is what it's known as, the Day of Infamy speech. I want to show you another one real quick that's pretty cool. So I'm going to scroll up to U.S. history. And so I'm under the U.S. history icon, and down it says here a literacy test. And this is a really cool one at the end of the Civil War. So in Reconstruction era, slaves were given the right to vote with the 15th Amendment. Well, the southern states weren't happy about that, and in particular the state of Alabama. You can see here this is about the state of Alabama. The state of Alabama did not want their slaves to have the right to vote. So what they did is they designed a literacy test, and this is actually designed for failure. So you'll notice, and keep in mind that a slave could not read or write, but if you look here at the words involuntary servitude, I mean, a slave who could not read would have no chance of understanding what that said. But this was an actual literacy test that was designed for failure because Alabama did not want their slaves to have the right to vote. So I think this would be a fun activity that you could share with your students and even have them print it off and have them, do one as an activity during class. But it's an actual historical document. And the idea is that going into our database here, teaching with documents, is we're giving teachers ideas on how to integrate primary sources into the classroom. So there's a cool feature there. I also want to share with you really quickly that you do have an Explore Arizona tab, and this allows you to go in and look at things just on Arizona. So these are encyclopedia articles and links to the biographies of people from Arizona, some of the economy and things that people make a living, the history of Arizona, and so on and so forth. There's some Native American groups. And then down here we also have the map of Arizona, state flag and seal, the bird, flower, and tree, and so on and so forth. So that's another cool feature. And you have access to all 50 states on that, not just Arizona. Okay, you also have a world newspapers link, which will allow you to look up the direct links of newspapers in foreign countries in their native language and in English, just depends on which country. And then also all of the links to newspapers in all 50 states. So you have, if you just click on that, I'm not going to do it, but that would take you into that. And then finally, this last part here, this is a current event area where this is called Behind the Headlines. So these change periodically, but it's done through Reuters News. And you can see today's date is October 14th at the time of this webinar. And so these are current events that are happening right now. On the top right, you'll see it says your most viewed articles. I find it interesting that ancient Greece and Rome are listed already because in world history, that's what teachers start with. They also do ancient Egypt. But these have been the most searched articles in your districts in the last couple of months. And it kind of correlates. Sometimes they'll change based on what's being taught in the classes. But anyway, so that's what that means on the top right. So that's it for WorldBook Advanced. There are some other cool features, but those are the main highlights. Anytime you want to go back to the main page where we started, you just click down here on the left. It says WorldBook Home, and it will take you back to where we started. So I do want to show you quickly a couple of interesting features. Right here I want to show you Worldbook Student. And Worldbook Student I would use real heavily with 9th grade students and maybe 10th grade students a little bit. But there's a couple of different features here that are really neat. One of them is over here under Explore. You'll see it says Compare Places. And this is really cool where you're able to go and compare countries and states and continents. But if I wanted to look up information on a country, let's say Afghanistan, and I click on Explore Afghanistan, you'll notice that I have the basic information, the geography, their government, their life expectancy, and it's listed all the way down. And then we also have links to the flag and the map and the different things there. But you also have the ability to compare a country with another country. So let's say that a teacher was doing a compare and contrast unit, and I'm just scrolling alphabetically here to the right to get to the United States, and I wanted to compare any country, we'll do Afghanistan, with the U.S. You can compare the two side by side and actually print. So if a teacher was doing a compare and contrast unit, this would be a great way to do that. And as I scroll down, you can compare the highest and lowest elevations, their life expectancy, internet users per 100 people, and different things like that, population and area. And so that's a cool feature there under the Compare Places feature. Again, on the home page of Worldbook Student, it's listed right here under Explore, Compare Places. Another neat feature here is the timelines. The timelines are also found in Worldbook Advanced. But let's say that a student wanted to look up an existing timeline that we have already done. So let's look at United States, and then maybe I want to scroll down and look at their alphabetical. Maybe let's take a look at Andrew Jackson's timeline. And this gives the students the ability to move and edit what's already been done. If I hit the right arrow here, you can see it takes it over. If I wanted to edit the timeline, I could do that, and I could just delete any of these events. If I wanted to add something, I'd type it in here. I can also upload an image. If I want to return to the timeline, it will print in a nice format from left to right on a single piece of paper. Or if I wanted to print it in a table format, I could also do that and list it from top to bottom, and you could print it that way. Okay, back to the home page. That's a couple of nice features that we have on Worldbook Student. I'm going to take us back home again. Worldbook Kids is designed for elementary, but I do want to show you a neat feature that you guys might use, and that is our World of Animals. And this is similar to what we just did with the countries and the states, where you can choose an animal like an aardvark. You could go look up the information on the aardvark and also look at some photos and different things. Or if you wanted to compare two animals, you'd click on Compare Animals, and then let's say they wanted to compare it to an armadillo. Then we can compare the two side by side, and you can compare their lifespan, what they eat, how big they get, what their predators are, the habitat that they live in, where they're found, that kind of stuff. So again, you can print that page and do a compare and contrast unit. But that's our World of Animals database. On the home page of Kids, it's just listed right here where I'm shaking the mouse. Okay, back to the home of all the databases. Our Student Spanish Encyclopedia has a couple of neat features. If you were just doing an article search on a cat, but you'd have to know it was gato, this will take you into our Spanish article, and you can see it's a little more visual. The text is not real intimidating. And we actually, if you go to the bottom, we do cite it in Spanish. If you wanted to jump over to the English version, you click right here, and now we're into the English version of the same article. So you have the ability to do that, go back and forth, and toggle between English and Spanish. And another thing that's neat on the home page is our visual dictionary, which is located right here. And this is all searchable in Spanish. So I'm going to go ahead and take you and show you how a volcano erupts, and I show this pretty regularly. But you can see in Spanish, this is how a volcano erupts, but I can translate it to English right on the spot. So I can go back and forth English and Spanish pretty easily right there on the spot. And so that's under our visual dictionary, which is also found in the English version of Kids, but this is under the Spanish. We do have some newspaper links to Spanish newspapers around the world, and then there's some activities in Spanish as well. And then finally, we have our Hispanica Saber. I don't know if I pronounced that right because I'm not a Spanish-speaking person. However, you would be able to search here. But if you wanted to go to a high school database, you could go here where it says 14 to 18 years. And maybe I want to look up literature. You can look things up there. If you just wanted to type in a search term here, you could do that. And so this is a more advanced database. This is called our Hispanica Saber, and that's located in WorldBook as part of your subscription. So I'm going to back my way back into the database. So once again, this is the home page where we started. The final thing I want to show you is you do have a training guide link down here at the bottom. I'm going to click on training guide. And let's say that you guys wanted to train teachers or anybody else at your school. If you just come down into our training guide and click on WorldBook Advanced, there's little blue tabs across the top of the page. So I can click on home page and it will give me some features, search results. It'll talk about how our search results are laid out, and so on and so forth. You can go across the top and show people different things. But this is a training guide with information on some of the things that you guys have at your disposal in the databases. So that will do it for this webinar today. If you guys have any questions, you are always welcome to contact me. I'm going to make sure that I get my information to Gene Kilker so that you guys will be able to know how to email me or contact me anytime you want. And just know that I am always available here to help you guys. And I hope this webinar has been really informative. The reason I recorded it is because I thought it would be good if you guys even wanted to forward it out to your teachers, or you could even play it in front of your faculty sometime just to show you guys the awesome databases and things that you have at your disposal. And I hope you guys are able to use them, and I hope that they're great for your students. And I appreciate you guys tuning in today. Thank you very much.